Peace. Brought to you by Iron Phenomenal Unlimited. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast, hosted by the Queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali, and the God, I Be. Speak Your Mind, an open line podcast delves into the week's current events, trending topics, and the social issues that affect Black people in America. Peace, 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 peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the 7th edition of the Speak Your Mind podcast. I can't believe we already at the 7th edition. Can you believe it, Queen?
I cannot believe it. Peace to everybody who is joining us this afternoon, every Sunday at 1 o'clock. No, I cannot believe it's 7. Wow. Time goes quick.
Yes, this is the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Alis. As the introduction said, we delve into very, very important discussions for the Black community, also current topics, current events, thought, new Black culture, everything dealing with our people here in the wilderness in North America. So as today is the 21st of February, 21st meaning wisdom, knowledge. Wisdom is the ways and actions that are activated once you bring knowledge into your cipher. Knowledge is the accumulation of facts and informations. Wisdom, knowledge borns understanding. Understanding is to perceive the true essence of what you're dealing with. So what we're dealing with today is the actual importance of bridging the gap between the youth and the adults and the community. Not only just the youth and adults, but also bridging the gap between Black men and Black women, and all of our community, because we need to have a more solid community. We teach that a unified Black family is a vital building block for a nation. So we definitely have some great speakers here today. We got some definite people that have been through some things, people that's added on in the community. It's going to be a great discussion. So but before we start, Queen, you want to add on about a couple things?
Well, I'll send you the information, but
Okay.
we're going to get into something that's definitely on my mind, as my husband is going to read it out to everyone. And as Black people, we always there for everybody, no matter what culture, what race. We always there for everybody, no matter what is going on. But who is there for us? Majority of the time, we hardly there for ourselves or for one another. So, would you please read that article regarding, and remind you, we don't have anything against anyone, but this is something that we need to just discuss.
Okay, so this article is in People Magazine, people.com. It's a human interest story. It says volunteers offer to escort elderly Asian Americans around California community amid racist attacks. The attacks and discrimination on Asian Americans have risen since the coronavirus pandemic came to the United States last year. Hundreds of volunteers are lending their support to the North Carolina organization that aims to protect elderly Asian Americans by escorting them through their neighborhoods during a time of heightened violence against the community. Since the coronavirus pandemic hit the United States last year, there has been a major rise in the attacks and the discrimination against Asian Americans. Like many, Jacob Acevedo of Oakland, California, was shocked and disheartened by the situation, CNN reported. Wanting to help, the 26-year-old used social media to offer an escort any Asian American who felt unsafe through Oakland's Chinatown neighborhood, according to the outlet. His actions inspired hundreds of people in the community of all racial backgrounds and ages to reach out and follow his lead, CNN reported. The positive response has since led Acevedo to establish Compassion in Oakland, a volunteer organization that promotes safety and community in their neighborhood, according to the group's Instagram. I wasn't intended to be some kind of vigilante, Acevedo explained to CNN. I just wanted to offer people some kind of comfort. Acevedo, who is of Hispanic descent, told the outlet he was compelled to take action after learning about two back-to-back attacks in his community. Wow. So yeah, I'm not gonna read the whole article because it's pretty lengthy. But basically, what's going on is ever since the coronavirus and Donald Trump and many people have been calling it the China virus and so forth and so on. There's been a lot of attacks against people in the Asian community. So this Latino brother, out there in Oakland, he basically said that he's going to form an organization to escort these people to safety. And also, I think it was today or yesterday, they had a meeting at the National Action Network on 145th Street, where they had some Asian representatives, and they wanted to bond with the black members of the community so that we could stand together against these attacks. They also had a march downtown Manhattan. So go ahead, Queen.
So the reason why we're bringing this up is because we just had um, a couple of deaths and also some attacks on our black women. So my once again, I don't have anything against anyone's culture. We don't, and it just a disconnect. So we talking about bridging the gap, right? So what do we do now? Okay, downtown and Canal Street, there's going to be a few people that's going to be around the train station. I guess this particular group or organizations that will actually escort the Asian people, elderly, to their home, right? Great idea. Love it. But what about us? What about us? And that is the reason why I wanted to highlight this um, article and speak on what can we do in our community. You know, we have some people that might be um, members of other organizations, gangs, or whatever it is, and maybe they could come up with the same idea and escort the black woman home, you know, or to the store if she's not feeling safe. You know, I'm not saying hook up with the person. I'm not saying all of that. I'm just saying, when do we get those same type of services?
It's crazy because over the summer with all of the Black Lives Matter protests and just the general protests and just period, it's like, you know, for a very long time it seemed like we was the only ones that was out there. And last year was a bunch of people that actually contributed. A lot of them were a lot of Caucasians. Um but I haven't seen like other communities, not to single anyone out, but I haven't seen too many other communities that that we interact with on a daily basis. We support their businesses, we support their people as far as their business ventures, whatever it is. I haven't seen them come out in numbers to stand up against what has been happening to us as a community. But whenever there's something going on in all of these other communities, we at the
They
front
run to the
of the
black race,
situation.
right?
And
Hmm.
they use the civil rights. They use the civil rights movement and all of the dogs being sicked on us and hoses and all of the degradation that we've been through to further their agendas. But when it comes time for us and our movements, they turn a blind eye.
Right. So this is when we need to bring this to the forefront. And also, if anyone out there that knows Ice Cube, listen, Ice Cube, we need you in our community to come and speak on that black agenda. And we also have some beautiful black women who would like to partner up with you with the black agenda for women as well. If not Ice Cube, us. Let's make it work. Let's make it happen.
So with that being said, I'm not going to belabor this anymore. I'm definitely going to bring our guests on because I'm excited to hear about what they have to say. They definitely have great experiences to talk about. So first and foremost, I would like to introduce my young brother, the WAPW Youth Ambassador, Christopher Lane.
Yes. Yay.
Hello.
Chris, can you show
Hello.
your face, Chris? Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Peace, Chris. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Everything is good. So
Peace.
next up to bat, we have my man 50 Grand. This is one of the coolest brothers I've seen in a long time, especially to be a younger brother. This is my man, Rell Balla. Rell Balla. Peace, Rell.
Peace, peace, peace.
Peace, 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 peace. What's going on?
Next up,
So,
we have a person I actually grew up with. This person right here, I went to school with this person. He was on the basketball team. I was on the knucklehead team. But he kept going, man. And he graduated from school. He actually became a school teacher. I'm very tired of this. I mean, I'm very proud of this brother. And I definitely like to see him adding on and doing the things that he's doing in the community. So without further ado, my brother, Coach Duncan.
What up, people? How's the rings? How's things?
Peace.
That's what's
Hey.
up.
Peace.
Peace.
And last but not least, I think a
Peace.
couple more people are gonna be coming on later on. But this brother right here, man, this brother right here, when we was in a bad state, I should say, he was always adding on about different things that's going on in the community and different movements that's going on. So it's like I seen him when he came home. He jumped right in feet first, and he's definitely been 10 toes down out here in the community, putting it down. He started this new organization, Gangstas Giving Back. I would like y'all all to give a loud round of applause for my man Tank Tarantino.
What up,
Hey,
Tank?
Peace.
Peace.
What's
Peace.
going on? Peace, peace, peace.
Salute.
peace to y'all, man. It's definitely great to see you. So, I mean, the
Peace.
first thing I really want to do is I want to start off with everybody saying their name, introducing themselves, and giving their age. Let's start with that. So I started off. My name is the God I Be, and I'm 43 years old.
My name is Shanice Gatewood Ali, the Queen. I'm not telling my age. I'm in my 40s, late 40s.
Okay, okay. Next
Yo,
up.
peace.
Oh, go ahead.
Andre Duncan, aka Coach Duncan, and I'm 44.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Chris?
Peace.
My name
Well,
is Chris,
well,
and
I
I'm
go.
15 years old.
I'm Rell Balla. Oh,
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm Rell Balla. I'm 28.
28? Okay. Thank you.
Chris?
My name is Chris, and I'm 14 years old.
Thank
14.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, Tank?
Peace and
Oh,
blessings, y'all. My name is
peace,
Rashaan
peace,
Brown,
peace.
aka Tank Tarantino. I'm 40 years old. Salutes.
Salute.
Peace, peace. So we got a
Peace,
range
peace.
from 14 all the way up into the 40s. So we definitely got a diverse perspective on this situation. So this should be a great discussion. So it was one more article that I just wanted to read a little bit of before we get started. And then we'll get into the questions. We'll get into the questions in the panel discussion. So this article is from the Kinder Institute. It says generational differences among African Americans in their perceptions on economic opportunity. So it says, why do more African American millennials than those in the earlier generations believe that blacks have the same opportunities as whites? Different generations of African Americans grew up in worlds with measurably different opportunities, and their experience may have had a lasting impact on their worldviews. The silent generation, born 1928 to 1945, endured the full effects of Jim Crow laws. Baby boomers, 1946 to 1964, were the children of the civil rights movement. Generation X, 1965 to 1980, came of age during the Fair Housing Act and the Black Power movement. Millennials, 1981 to 2000, benefited greatly from these major successes. Despite the continuing realities of racism and discrimination, are there significant differences between African American generations in their assessments of the black opportunity in America? And if so, in what ways do their perceptions differ? The findings from the Kinder Houston area survey in the years 1989 to 2018 show that the generation is, in fact, a significant predictor of belief among African Americans in the extent of equality of opportunity. Even after controlling for differences in education, religion, political party, and income. As indicated in this chart, when asked if blacks and other minorities have the same opportunities as whites in the U.S. today, fewer millennials by a whopping 11 percentage points disagree with that assertion compared to Generation X, the cohort just before theirs, which was next most likely to disagree with that statement. So, I mean, it just shows that we have a different opinion on the way that our reality is in America. So I mean, just to start off the discussion, let's just talk about this article a little bit. How do y'all feel about that? Go ahead, Dre.
I think it's accurate for the simple fact it's not a difference in opinion, it's a difference in experience. Right? It clearly states we didn't go through what our forefathers went through in the 20s, the 40s, the 60s, all the way up to the 70s. It's a different experience. All right. And when you talk about opportunity to be successful, let's look at the internet. Right? The internet has disintegrated the filter that our forefathers had to go through just to get a word out. Right? These children have the internet. So therefore, they can present themselves to any kind of audience at any time. We didn't have that access.
Right.
Right. So with that, you got a creation of a whole new experience of work, right? Of platforms, be it music, entertainment, whatever you want to do. There is a social media platform for these kids to make a living. Just this summer, I sat in my house and watched these dudes play NBA 2K, right? 5-on-5, 10 dudes on a joystick getting paid $30,000 a year to play a video game on ESPN.
Wait a minute. Say that one more time. I'm in the wrong field of business.
Yes. Right? These kids are in their basement playing 5-on-5 on a video game. They each get paid $30,000 to play a video game online. We could have never saw that as an employment opportunity. So there is more opportunity for them to be successful straight off just the advances that we've gone through in technology.
Wow. Anybody else?
It's a fact.
What you feel about that, Rell?
I mean, that's a fact. I mean, it's a platform but it's on what you use that platform for, you know. But like I said, the brother just said it, man. You know, it's different platforms and different outlets now to where it's easier for us to, make a living. But it's all on, it got to be, the mind got to be there. A lot of people, where I come from, a lot of us, is focused on other things and use that platform for the negativity.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Do y'all feel that more opportunities for us as Black people in America now than, previous generations?
You say that again?
You hear from the younger ones. I mean, I'm 44. We got my man 14. How does he feel like his future? What opportunities does he feel like are in front of him?
Absolutely, Chris.
Chris, you there?
I mean, we have like a lot of apps and stuff where you can promote your if you're into like art and stuff, we have like apps such as like TikTok and Instagram where you can like post certain stuff that you do, and like thousands of people can see it. So you never know who could put you on to be like mainstream, because we have everything on our phones, our computers, so it's easy to be able to get put on.
Yo, and I'm gonna piggyback off of that. Not only is it easier to get put on, it's easier to expose injustice.
That's definitely true.
Right. Now they got to be extra careful of how they talk to us and how they treat us. Everything is being recorded. So racism is still there, but it's changed, right? It's changed. How can they manipulate us now with the advance of technology? Because cameras and microphones are all over.
Right.
Extra careful what you do.
I agree. Tank, you have
Peace
something.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Yeah, I agree with everything that was said prior with the brother, what he just said just now. And when we speak about the technological advancements, I think that the technological advancements has made it more beneficial for our groups of people to advance themselves. But everything comes with a cost. There's always unintended consequences to everything that we deal with. So the social communication amongst the peoples has been degraded. it's taking a turn for the worse. When we talking about Instagram, Facebook, social media, I feel that the social communication that we used to have when we used to go to our neighbor's house, get some sugar. Hey, how you doing? Peace and blessings. Now we go on Instagram. I see something I don't like. I put an emoji on it, and it's like a person could take that the wrong way and commit suicide off of that. So it's unintended consequences to everything. But I do feel that the technological advancements has made it more beneficial for our youth to propel themselves ahead in life. Yes.
100% agreed. And I think, hearing that you're 40, right? What we don't, in our generation, what we can't understand is the lack of intercommunication face to face, right? These kids don't know how to go outside and interact with each other unless it's in a manner that we question. But now are we accepting that the way the world is interacting is changing because it has changed? So are we being left behind because we're like, oh, these kids don't know how to talk to each other. They don't want to and they don't need to. That's the hard part for us to accept at our age. That's how they do it.
Right.
What you feel about that, Rell? You think it's hard to communicate with people?
Oh man, I just feel like, my personal, like I said, like.
Oh, he got disconnected?
Chris, I would like for you to piggyback and give your input on what's your thoughts of how you communicate. I see you all the time. You out, you sing, you play ball. Talk to us about how do you feel about the communication with you and your friends.
I mean, I'll probably
Yeah,
just like text them.
I'm back.
Like,
okay,
just pull up
1
to
second.
the court.
Pull up to the court.
Yeah, like I'll text them or call them, tell them pull up to the court.
I'm back.
But like whenever we,
Hold on 1 second.
like whenever we meet, like whenever we meet, like we just like just talk crazy to each other. Like we always like if somebody misses a shot, like we always like talk down on each other, like you suck, like And I feel like, I mean, like if I call you my man, like you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be like, well, I'm gonna give you the ball, and I'm gonna keep giving you the ball until you make it, or I'm gonna keep like talking to you until you get something through your head that I'm trying to explain to you.
That's dope. I mean, that's called trash talk. I mean, even spades players, do a little trash talk, trash talking too. I don't play ball, so I don't know, but I have heard, the aggressiveness and how one can, get you underneath your skin and you be ready to curse them out, be ready to fight. I have seen that. I watch basketball. I have friends that are in the lead and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. Maybe they need to change that around. But that's been going on for a long time. These older brothers here, they would definitely tell you that's a lot of trash talking.
I agree 100%. It's a lot of trash talk on the basketball court. But like he's saying, if that's your man's,
right,
then your trash talk should be about what I'm doing and not about what you can't do. Right.
So, Rell, back, Rell. What's good?
You're welcome back.
Go ahead, Rell. What you want to say?
Yeah. But we talking about bridging the gap here. So, like, far as like my opinion on that is how I see it to a certain extent. I just feel like the older generation, to a certain extent, see like a younger dude or whatever just wailing, and they just don't want to like deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like if a lot of older people was on that type of time, would just like snatch them and then like talk to them and, just give them, because I didn't have that. I'm speaking off experience too. Like I didn't have nobody older like really telling me like, yo, this is the route to do it. Or if they did tell me how to get money or do things like that, they didn't tell me the consequences behind it. And these was older people that already did it and experienced these things.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like far as like we just got like far as the community, like we really got to look at where we come from and our community and really like be there for each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If
So
that
Rel,
makes any sense.
I wanted to tell you, right? Like the whole reason,
Oh, somebody put the.
Sorry, but
yeah, the whole reason I wanted to put this forum together is because of a post that you recently had. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share the post. Is that all right? You hear me?
it's
Somebody,
breaking up a little bit. It's a little staticky on my end.
yo, you mind if I share this post that I commented on that you posted not too long ago? Rel, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna share it.
I
Check
don't
this out.
mind. Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind.
All right, I'm about to share it right now.
So you said, do you want me to build on that?
Now I'm gonna share it real quick, and then we can build on it. All right, check this out. Boom. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what he wrote was he said, I watch and observe. Same people you call bro, sis, and fam don't do S for you but match your blunt. Or maybe you sip on a bottle of Henny, and if you didn't put in, half the time they really count on them to be there in the time of need. 100. They only gonna pull up with a blunt or a bottle. Don't go into no rent problems or have no food in your crib.
Mm, that's deep.
So it's
That's
like,
deep.
I mean, that right there just showed, like, the way that community is nowadays is everybody is willing to come and smoke a blunt or drink a bottle, but when it comes to bonding together as a community, there's a disconnect. So what
That
was
is
your
so true.
concept when you posted that?
Nah, it wasn't. You know, I gotta. And it's crazy because that post taught me something that day. Like I gotta be conscious of what I said because close friends came to me like, "Yo, what's up?" But I didn't mean it like that. It's just like, basically trying to whoever's watching my post or whoever's watching, just basically trying to give knowledge to whoever, like basically trying to tell the people what's real and what's not. Like when I wrote it, so basically I see a lot of dudes that be hanging around dudes and then walk off, and then these dudes will be talking badly as soon as you turn your back. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I just wrote that like in that type of sense,
Right.
and yeah, it's just crazy, and then like it's just crazy, like I think it's self-explanatory.
Right.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Well, I do.
You
I would like to say with that when he the God I be read it to me, I was like, wow, that's deep because do you know how many times him and I would sit in different people workshops and get knowledge of self on whatever it is that people are educating us on or we're educating people. It would be the same 5 to 10 people at almost every workshop. Certain things is just not interested. They're not interested in, and it's a shame because you got to know your history. You got to know where you came from before you could just jump into the now and trying to, you know, become an entrepreneur. You got to find out before it was you. It was so many other people, all our ancestors that was entrepreneurs. So it's always good to go back to help you bring you up forward because I'm just throwing the entrepreneur part. But when it come down to I'm going to smoke, I'm going to light up, I'm going to do this, you got a whole room of people. And or if you have a party, if there's no bud or there's no alcohol, you don't have too many people that's going to be there
That's a
because they're like, yo, this is whack. This ain't no AA, whatever type of program, whatever it is, they just not going to be interested unless you have some bud, and that's crazy.
Well, let's
You
get into
know,
know,
it now. Now we done warmed up a little bit, you know what I mean? We ready to get into this situation. So could you start with this first question so we can pass this around and get this conversation truly started?
Facts. Okay, so do you believe this statement is true or false? And anybody could take this, right? If you don't mind, can you just whoever that's not speaking, just mute yourself because it is really loud in my ear. Do you believe this statement is true or false? And how do you feel when you hear this? A generation which ignores history has no past, and no future. What is your thoughts on that? And do you believe it's true, or do you believe it's false?
Peace. I believe,
Peace.
I believe, I believe, Queen, that is true. If you don't know your past, you don't know your history, then basically you don't have knowledge of self. You don't know where your peoples, where your ancestors, what struggles they don't went through, what hardships, what successes they don't went through. And one thing about history, they say that history repeats itself. You know,
That's true.
the players may change, but the game remains the same. So
Right.
even though we might have been enslaved in a different way, starting from 1619 and before, from 1555 and everything, we still enslaved. We still enslaved. It might not be a physical bondage, you know, probably 10%, 15%. My percentage is all, but mentally, spiritually, technologically speaking, we still in bondage because we still in bondage to the Instagram, Facebook, social media. If I see somebody, not me, but maybe if I see somebody on Instagram, yo, my man's he throwing it up, he fly. I gotta go out there and get it by any means necessary. Let me do that. Let me do that. So now we got to know our history. We got to know our past. The Fred Hampton movie came out. How many people was talking about that? How many people speaking about that? And the same rules apply. You know, you implant somebody into the community that may look like you, but might not have the same morals and principles like you, and they're gonna be a COINTELPRO, J. Edgar Hoover. They're gonna bring the whole situation down. So we need to know our history. That's a fact.
Absolutely. Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree with the brother. It's all the way true because the key word is ignore, right? How are you going to ignore what you've gone through, right? Experience is the key to history, right? It's experience, right? Knowledge and wisdom to bring understanding. You got to have experience. You got to go through things. And if you're ignoring what people have went through, you don't have nothing to learn or nothing to build on.
Wow, Chris. Thank you.
And I just want to like speak on a perspective of like a youth. Like I'm a youth that knows the history, and I feel like it's a gap between me and some of my friends because I'll be talking about Black liberation and stuff like that, and how we got to be able to financially support ourselves, and they looking at me like I just said some crazy stuff. So I feel like a lot of if you don't know your history, it'll repeat it'll repeat itself. And I feel like in school we got to learn our history because and the textbook history is like all bogus and stuff. They have like years and years of stuff about black and brown excellence that's ripped out because they don't want us to know. They want us to be blind. So when it's time for us to get that job, be like looking stupid because we don't know our worth. We don't understand who we are and what we came from.
This is why you're here on this forum. This is why we watch you. We know what you're capable of bringing to the table.
Right. Y'all heard the connect between his comment and the post
right.
that Joe shared? Right. He said they don't have it, helping each other out economically, financially. They're not interested in that. And I think what my man's posted is it opened up the door to say, I'm not just here to smoke blunts and drink Henny. Right. That's what we get invited for. How many of us is going to say, yo, let's burn this down, or I need you to take me food shopping? Right? We don't say that. We don't reach out for that kind of help. We don't reach out for that kind of camaraderie. We don't. We keep that to ourselves. But his post, now his homies know if they need some help, they can turn to him.
That's dope. Yeah, his post had me like, woo. So, brother, the last brother, would you be able to?
And
yeah, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to ask something. It's like a lot of.
Want me to elaborate on?
I feel like people don't really.
Hold on.
I feel like people really don't be like your friend because they don't mind spending $20.
Yeah, it's a little staticky on my end.
Do you have any earbuds? Because if you have any earbuds, that will help you hear us a little better. as well.
Go ahead, finish, Chris.
Yeah, give me a
like
second.
like
I'm
it's so
sure.
many people that is willing to spend $20 on weed or like whatever, but like your man's don't got no food in the fridge, so like how about you take the money you gonna spend on like something that's unnecessary and put it back into your friend that
Mm-hmm.
needs food or needs resources that can help them survive long term. Like a lot of people think about short term stuff.
Mm.
Oh well, I'll get this because I'm hungry right now. But what about from a week when you have no food in your refrigerator, you don't got no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a lot of short term thinking, and we got to change our mindset.
Ooh, love it. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next question.
Thank you
The
so
next
much.
question is on me to ask. So, question number 2. What are your thoughts on crime against women by males? What are your thoughts on crime against women by males? And anybody can start it off.
Pigs. I think that crimes against women, brother, my belief system, pardon me, it may differ, but any crimes against women should not be tolerated in our community. Physical crimes, uh, physical crimes should not be tolerated against women, kids, and I mean, I for me, I believe extreme measures should be taken to balance those odds. Justice is justice. The scale of justice, sometimes it don't really apply to us when we talking about the racial indifferences and cultures or whatever. But when it's within our own cultures and we see somebody committing crimes against women like that, I'm not gonna call him my brother because he ain't my brother doing what he was doing. But them guys that was in Harlem in that liquor store committing those crimes against that female when she was alone by herself and they was 5 deep, they need the utmost penalties of judgment placed against them. That's a fact.
I agree. So we got a late edition. Peace to my brother Chris
Yeah,
Watts.
Peace.
peace. Pardon me. Pardon me. I was a little tied up. Peace. It's good to see the
Peace,
brother.
peace.
What up?
Peace.
Oh, the
Rell.
God.
Yeah,
Peace.
man.
So we just was asking a question right now. The current question that we dealing with right now is, what are your thoughts on crime against women by men or by young men?
Um, well, I think that crimes against women, period, is an injustice to men, period. Because so much of conversations are built around how men are treating women and how they are, going through all these different stages of healing behind the actions of a woman. So I think a man is less than a man for, perpetrating this type of violence on women. The short answer, I think that movements, such as Shanice's and, similar ones are, integral to keep the self-esteem of women built up, to keep them, focused on, it ain't over because of this one man, and also to not have them like place a stigma upon all men because of
Right.
their others' behaviors,
Right.
if that makes sense.
It does.
That's
Mhm.
peace. Anybody else want to chime in on this question?
Yo, just real quick, I think, you know, bodily harm is the worst crime, like rape. That's it. And when you talk about that physical harm, right? I'm gonna put it 1A, 1B. 1A is like sexual crimes against children by men, and then sexual crimes against women by men, right? It absolutely demolishes the human spirit. And I think
Mhm.
those are the two worst, affronts that a man can commit. Those two right there against children, then women.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I remember growing up watching Scarface. Scarface is one of my favorite movies. I mean, not to bring up something, crude or whatever, but Scarface is one of my favorite movies. And no matter what, even though Tony was out there doing whatever he was doing in the community, when he seen something about to happen to women or children, he said, "No, I'm not having it." No, and he actually did. He did do dirty when he tried to do something to women and children. He said, "I'm not having it." So I know coming up, we had this like we had basically some type of rules in the community saying, "Listen, we're not going to do anything to women and children. If they're involved, then maybe we'll back off for that day, or we won't take it to the extra mile that day." But in sometime during the '90s and maybe 2000s, that changed and anybody could get it. So it don't matter who out there. What they said in that movie, I don't care who out there. We gonna just shoot. We gonna shoot whatever's going on out there. So what do y'all think about that? You think it's changed the values we have, like not involving women or doing things to women?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just like, like in different generations, it wasn't raised like this. This generation like wasn't raised with those values. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And also because of the shortcomings, not mainly but partly because of the shortcomings of men in general. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Teaching them how to be a man, how to respect a woman, how to cultivate her, make her your queen. You know what I'm saying? And hold these values. So I think a lot of that was lost, from then till now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you know, I always think things always come back to it comes back to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Comes back to the generation of people coming up that didn't have these hardcore, values instilled upon them.
So Chris, what you think about that, Chris? You think it's different? I mean, I know you're young. You're 14 years old. How do you feel that your peers feel about violence against women or involving women and children in situations? Can you hear me? Are you frozen? All right, we
No.
pass it to Rell. Go
Is
ahead,
he?
Rell.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Can you hear us, Rell? We can't hear you, Rell. You got to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Is he talking?
No, he's not saying that. I don't know if he could
All
hear.
right, go ahead, Tank. Go ahead, Tank.
What's the question, brother? What?
The question is, what's your views about violence against women, and has it changed? Has it changed from our generation to this current generation that people just don't care about, hurting women or hurting children or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a generational issue. I don't want to put it as a elders against the youth, because I think that's one of the problems that we go through now. It's like, oh, back in my days, we wasn't doing this,
Mm.
and when we say that, it's like we perpetuating a stigma against our own peoples. And I didn't want to hear the old timers talking about what they used to do and what they used to do. So I know the youth don't want to hear what we used to do, But to improve upon what's going on, I think that it's a lot of stuff happening against women nowadays where guys don't have no morals and principles when it comes to women. And as I spoke previously about the situation in the liquor store, when
Mm-hmm.
those devious, devilish individuals surrounded that woman while she was buying her bottle of liquor and abused her and did heinous crimes against her, that should not be tolerated. That should not be tolerated in any community with any generation, whether it's youth or whether it's elders. But this goes back to the Moynihan, and he passed away. But Moynihan said the black woman, don't quote me, but he said, damn, you maybe could expound upon this, IB, because Moynihan back in the 70s, he said the black woman being in a household devoid of men, he basically approved it. And that comes into place with the welfare and all this, where welfare was keeping men out the household and this and that. So
Mm-hmm.
now if you keeping men out the household because of the monetary issues, the men can't raise the children. How are we going to instill principles and morals into these young men growing up so that they can respect our women? So it's
Mm-hmm.
systematic. It's systematic.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
definitely.
a good one.
That
Yeah.
Moynihan report and the whole welfare queen stuff that they was trying to push on us, saying that women were black women in the community were welfare queens that was just getting money off of welfare and having
Wow.
all kids and all of that whole stigma that was in place at that time. So Shanice, you want to ask the next question?
Well, I do want to make a statement on the behalf of the women. This message is for the women. You know, a lot of us feel like we could degrade the men, you know, degrade them and talk down to them and call them out of their names and all of that. That should not be done. I mean, I understand that people argue, but you know, you bitch, nigga, you know, all of those words is not showing respect. You're not showing any respect because when he said back to you, now you want to get in his face and now you want to violate him. But when it's the other way around and the men start violating the women, is like, you know, he's wrong. And he is wrong. The guy in the liquor store, he was absolutely wrong. I feel like it was a mental case. You know, he had some imbalances going on with himself, but it's all wrong all the way around the board. The disrespect, young or old, the mothers disrespecting their sons, the sons, it's just all the way around the board, disrespect, and it doesn't help anybody grow. So I do want to say that females, stop disrespecting the men, and maybe you could start getting a little bit more respect. Because if you know that you are a queen should not be degrading her black man. So I'm gonna say that. So our next question is, if I'm not mistaken, I think,
Number
do
3.
you believe
Mm-hmm.
we both, young and old, lost respect for ourselves or others? And if so, how can we gain the respect back, as in bridging the gap?
So just to add a little context to the situation, um, I basically myself and the Queen was building last night or the other night, and we was talking about how in the time between the late '80s and early '90s there was a drastic change. What we had was the dynamic of the crack
Ever.
epidemic,
Mm-hmm,
the AIDS epidemic,
mm-hmm,
loss of a lot of factory jobs and income coming into the community, um, mass incarceration. So I mean, and this is on top of the crack era is on top of the heroin epidemic that preceded it. So we lost, we might as well say about 3 or 4 generations in this fell swoop. So now instead of a community where everybody would make sure that children are doing the right thing, or like you would before you even got home, you might have got 4 whoopings from various people on the street, and then your moms know before she come home from work. Nowadays, it went to don't talk to strangers, and we don't even know who our own neighbors are, and the dude on the corner is a crackhead, and the alcoholic, and all of these different people, and we lost that sense of community. So we're asking this question in that context.
Mm. I would say, I think we lost sight of what respect means to
mm-hmm.
others, right? When you lose sight of what respect means to another person, you're not going to live up to those standards or expectations, right? The lines of respectful behavior, they have been changed, pushed, challenged by each generation. And so while we may not find behaviors disrespectful, we don't see them as respectful as we used to be,
Mm-hmm.
because things have changed. So I think that when you respect somebody, you respect them in their space, right? Because every person, just like every domain in your world, has different guidelines for behavior, right? You don't talk to your mom the same way you talk to your daughter, or you don't talk to your daughter the same way you talk to your grandfather or your teacher or your boss. Everybody has different lines of respect according to your relationship with that person. And if you care about that person, then you will act in a way that's respectful to them, and they'll act in a way that's respectful to you.
Right.
But when you pull that veil down and you don't care about what then communication is lost.
Right.
Agreed.
So how do we bridge that? How do we work on bringing that back to the forefront again?
Patience,
Mm.
patience, and conversation, and a
Right.
smile. The smile, like I,
Patience.
right. I almost got into a car accident with this dude, and he pulled up next to me. He rolled his window down, and he was real mad. And I just rolled my window down, and I said, "Yo, bro, I was trying to get in the right lane, and you were right next to me, so I sped up, and you sped up. I slowed down. I'm not trying to get in an accident. I got kids in the back."
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he stopped. He put his head down. He's like, "Yo, you're right. I'm having a bad day." And I was like, "I got
Wow.
5 kids in this car. I'm having a bad day too. I just want to get home."
Mm-hmm.
But we had that patience to acknowledge the frustration that we're going through
Mm-hmm.
and understand that this reaction had nothing to do with you. It has to do with me, right? And if you could be man enough to be like, "Yo, I own this. My bad," everybody can move on.
That's true.
Yeah.
So patience, I'm sorry, Prince, patience, communication, and I think also a part of that
Accountability.
as accountability, the
Yeah.
way we speak to one another as well, because if you're coming with the rah-rah, then the other person gonna come with the rah-rah. So everybody's just, it escalates into something really big, and you're who now, how are we going to de-escalate it, unless you have that tools in you to bring down your voice, talk a certain way, let the person hear you, or be quiet and let the person just go off. But I think that has something to do with it too. So we got communication, accountability, and patience. Thank you. I'm gonna write this stuff down because I'm waiting for everybody else to put their one and twos in it.
Yeah. So I just want to just echo what the brother said. I think definitely the communication is where you could be able to have teaching these conflict resolution tactics that is going to de-escalate situations, not cause things to go to a point where when you look back at it, you didn't really want it to happen. I didn't want it to happen. The whole thing is just blown up over something with a lack of understanding and communication.
Mm-hmm.
I think the communication gap of from one generation, like I was saying about the epidemic, that generation coming up that was bringing into existence different new offsprings that were watching certain behaviors, you know what I'm saying, and seeing people drug addicted, a lot of crime and poverty around them, which caused them to develop certain ideas or certain notions of how to behave. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And it's just it gets misconstrued in the message because at one time there was a point, in our lives that we couldn't say certain things around our mothers. Our parents kept us, shielded from seeing certain type of things, so we don't get grownish and mannish and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And the girls get hot and fresh and frisky out there. And so the important part is that when these offspring started seeing these type of behaviors, it became normalized to them.
Mm.
They get the normalized, they see this type of behavior. And this doesn't go for, every child, every youth, or every person who's in this generation now looking at it as being a direct effect of what happened because of these certain epidemics that came through our cities. But the important part is that there was a disconnect between knowing levels of communication and how to handle yourself, how to bring conflict down. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's just my take on that.
Thank you. I would like for Chris to add on, like, how can we bridge this gap between the youth and and us?
That's more respect
Um,
on a ground level.
I
Right.
feel like the adult should like talk to the kid, like and like just like compare like what they've been through and their experiences. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, racism is racism. Like no matter how you experience it, or like whatever you're going through, it's still bad and it affects the community at whole. So I feel like if you have a grandma or something or like an old auntie, like just sit down and like talk your experiences out, and like just I mean, cause We all need wisdom, and kids got wisdom. Older people got wisdom. So we need to spread that knowledge throughout the community, so we can all develop whatever we need to do.
Mm.
Right.
Spread the wisdom. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Tank.
Anybody else you want to touch on this, Tank?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I agree with Chris, and I agree with everybody else. And they got a saying, water seeks its own level. And how I'm going to relate that to this conversation is, when I'm in a community and when I'm in a hood, I want to come across to the youth as me being myself. I don't want to be judgmental, and I don't want to be, oh, stop doing that. In my days, we didn't do this. I'm coming across, I'm meeting them at their own level. But
Definitely.
it's as elders, we got to draw the line to what can be done and what can't be done. So if I see something happening that shouldn't be happening, yeah, I'm gonna say something, but I'm gonna meet them at their own level
That's
and
right.
try to relate to them without being judgmental, because I don't want to be that. It's not a bad thing, but I don't want to be that mother figure, that father figure that they're always around. That's dictating their moves. I want them to look at me as a friend, and if they need to confide in me about anything that they feel they're unsure about, then they can certainly confide in me, because they know I'm not judgmental. Yeah.
Right.
Yo, I like what Tank is saying. He's saying he comes around and he's himself. And what that does is, by not becoming that figure, that judgmental figure, he said, it allows them to be themselves.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. And now he can talk to them and meet them at their level. Word.
Mm.
That's great you said that, Drake, because I think this next question is directed to you and also to my mentors out here, incredible messages that's on this stream as well. So the next question is, as a teacher, or as I said, a mentor, or credible messenger, do you see the gap or disconnect with the teachers, the parents, and the children?
There is one. There can be one. There will always be one. But there's not always one. And I think as a teacher, you and the parent need to come to the understanding that the kid is first. If the kid comes first, then no matter the nature of your relationship, you're going to present a united front as a foundation for that kid to stand on and grow from. And as a teacher, I feel it's my responsibility to always reach out to the parent to let them know, look, I have a bond with your child, right? But they need to know that we have a relationship, okay? And that we're always going to work together and help them. We are the support system. We are, right? And there has to be boundaries within that. So, right, it has to be boundaries. One thing a lady told me, an administrator, she said, she always tells parents, you believe 50% of what your child says happens at school. I'll believe 50% of what they say happens at home, and we'll communicate to get 100% of the story when it's necessary, right? So you got to communicate. And if that kid doesn't have that background, then as a teacher, you had a bond with the child. But it's all about the child.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's wisdom right there. I like that.
it's definitely a strong disconnect between the parent, the teacher, the parent, the child, and the teacher. Because remember before, I mean, especially with the pandemic that's going on and all that, and the disconnect between teachers having direct interaction with with um with parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so even before, like, back when I was coming up and all of that, if you was a certain way in school or something like that, or something was going on that was wrong with you, or they was noticing certain behaviors coming home, like my mom's was getting a call at
Mm-hmm.
school. Like, hey, listen, I think something is going on with your son. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then, which showed the best interest. I had, like, during this project that I'm putting in, that the teacher turnover in Brownsville is more, pardon me. The teacher turnover in Brownsville is so great that most of them are not certified to teach the classes that they are teaching.
What?
Yeah, they're not even certified, and the teacher turnover is high. They come to Brownsville schools, they work for a couple of, a year or so.
And they out.
They getting a bond. The teacher and the student is starting to get a bond with each other, and the next thing you know, they're gone.
Wow.
So it's the indifference of educators also. People just, they there just for a check. They won't get paid. It's really hard and rare to find the ones that really, truly, genuinely care about the student.
Right. That's true. I was a mentor for fifth graders in the Bronx. And I remember this young lady, this little girl and the little boy used to always hit her and used to always she used to always be on the floor because as I heard and remember, her grandparents were watching over her. Her mother wasn't in her life, and the little girl used to be all on the floor. So I used to tell her, "Why are you on the floor?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "You have some beautiful clothes and you look so beautiful." Even if she didn't, I just said those things because at the end of the day, we want to teach them at that level to how to sit down in a chair, how to be respectful. So I used to tell her, "She looks really nice today." Every day I said that. After a while, the little girl stopped sitting on the floor. Now with the little boy, he used to hit her and snatch her up and all of this. So I said to him, you know, "Do you know about domestic violence?" So he said no. So I said, okay. So I broke some stuff down to him and I said, you look like the type that if you get a girlfriend and your girlfriend walks away from you, you could hit her or because you're doing it now. You're in fifth grade. And you know where that could lead you? Someplace that you would not like. And he said, "And where's that, Miss Gatewood?" And I told him. And he said, "I don't want to go there." Lord, I tell you, the next day, the next week, because I was going every week. When I went the next week, the little boy and little girl came up to me and said, "Miss Gatewood, we decided not to hit each other anymore." My heart melt. I was like, oh my God. I wanted to cry. That story still stick with me because I'm like, you have to get them where you got to meet them where they at and get them at that age to understand the value of themselves because obviously she did not get it at home because grandparents is watching over her. And the little boy, he probably seen it at home. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this is what they came back to me and said the following week, and since I was just the mentor and I had them for an hour before I dismissed them, they used to run downstairs and act wild and online. I used to make them go all the way back down upstairs to the front door and come back out again. And the reason why I did that is because I'm new and you want to act up, I'm going to help you understand. You're not going to act like, as they would say, animals in the hallway. We're not doing that. And do you know, after a while, they stopped. So I had to program them the way I would love for them to be because whoever that Caucasian woman was, let them do whatever they wanted them to do. And at the end of the day, what will be the main thing those people will say? Them kids are animals, not with me. So I just wanted to share that story because that help us understand that our kids can be turned around with our help.
So take us into the next question.
So our next question is, why do you feel we are the most hated amongst each other?
Right. So first, I want to add on to this question right here. Right. I remember coming up. Um, it seemed like our culture was basically screw face culture. And what I mean by that is we had to have the hardest ice grill, right? When you move around the city, moving around the town, moving around anywhere, if you seen another person that remotely similar look like you had to give them the hardest screw face. And however the reaction was to the screw face, that would be how that thing would turn out. Now, I don't know if the generation before us, the elders, or as we said, the what was that? The whatever the generation was before us, the whatever they call. But anyway, I don't know if the generation before us, my parents, my brothers and sisters, because I'm the youngest, I don't know if they had that culture as far as the screw face culture where you could die from a look. I don't know if that was the same, and I don't know if it is something that is relevant to the crack epidemic, gangster rap, um, the incarceration culture that we came into, or what it is. But it seems like at that point in time, things changed where we cannot look at other people that look like us as brothers anymore. Everybody was a potential threat.
Mm.
The psychological chains of slavery run deep, man.
Ooh.
So when
Mm.
you start to think about and looking about historically how we were taught to hate each other, divided, split up, taught to make you feel like I'm better than you because of certain kind of stature or any kind of form of living. And then, this stuff went to the part when you look at the civil rights era where you couldn't even look at a white person in the eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't even look at them in the eyes. You had to always keep your head down. And so now, when you transcend it into these days and times, you know, I just think that these type of behavior are so ingrained into our genetic makeup. If if you know what I'm saying, to hate on each other just because,
Mm-hmm.
without that clear understanding and having, a clear understanding of yourself, your history, and how we supposed to treat and love black people, you know what I'm saying, is just lost, you know?
Wow, that's deep.
You also have to consider what's going on during those times. So, the God IB is talking about early 90s, late 80s,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the harder crack epidemic. We're talking about the the formation of gangster rap music, which is an influence. We're talking about NWA. We're talking about Onyx, but we also talking about hustling, right? So everything that we were exposed to came with a threat of violence attached to it. And if you didn't appear or you weren't ready to be that, then you got swallowed up, right? So that's a big part of it. He's talking about the psychological change of slavery, and that came through television and music. They started
Mm-hmm.
calling us super predators,
Mm.
right? He's on mute, you're on mute.
Yeah, subliminal messages.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. So all we're
Shanique,
programmed.
did you
Seduction.
as a woman, did you see this type of screw face culture amongst women that we as men went through?
Of course, you got women that will walk
Mm.
by each other and I don't like that B, you know, and don't even know who she is, only because of what she had on or whatever the case might
Mm.
be. I mean, instead of you saying, yo, sis, that's a nice outfit, like, you know what I'm saying? It would be like, who she thinks she is. You be like, damn, I ain't even do nothing. You don't even know my name. You just already hating on me. So, I think now a lot of us now starting to say, Queen, you look nice, love that hairstyle, you working it, we start now to do those things. But before, please, you used to walk down the block, you like, you feel eyes on you. And when you look, they looking like, I don't like that. You be like, so yes, we did go through that too.
Okay, okay. So I see my man young Chris was having little phone issues. You back with us, Chris, now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So listen, the current question is, um, why do you feel that we're the most hated amongst each other?
Um, cause like I feel like everybody wanna like outdo each other. Like somebody said, like if somebody got a fly outfit, everybody just grilling him down, cause he look fly. And, like everybody just want to be the best at what they do. Everybody want to be like have the most money, the best car, and you live in the hood, like you driving your car to the projects. So like everybody just want to like be the best, be at the top, and outdo each other.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we both saying the same thing.
So we're gonna move on to the next question. Unless Tech
Wow.
want to expound on that. You feel that? Why do you feel we the most hated amongst each other?
I think, and I like to quote Ghostface, the devil planted fear inside the black babies.
Uh,
So,
Ooh.
yeah,
he said
that's a fact.
soldiers in the hood. They going crazy.
Yeah. And I mean I think it's implanted in our DNA, in our biological makeup, because my elders, my grandmother, she used to tell me, like, respect them folks over there, respect them folks. And they wasn't the color of our color. They was a different color. So I think it was handed down, and it's like it's generational. It's generational. I can say that. And it's some way we gotta conquer it, we gotta outgrow it. And that's why we're here now.
That's
Exactly.
right. You
Because
right.
I'm telling y'all, like I'm a firm advocate that our generation is the missing link. We dropped the ball because when we came in the situation when we was younger, all of these things was in place, right? They had adults out there that would, monitor the kids in the community. They had kids that had after school programs. They had all of these different basketball events. They had stuff out there for the youth to do. And a lot of us went to prison, or like my brother Coach Duncan, they went and got a great job and was doing stuff in the community. But most of the things that made community life, we dropped the ball on because it was our turn and our job to do those things.
Mm.
Yo, they stalked us. Our generation was stalked, right? We're the crack babies. That's our generation, right? They started taking things away. All those community centers that we grew up in, where are they? Where are they when we're grown for us to give back?
Right.
They took that away from us, right? So the opportunity is to perpetuate what we went through, disintegrated, and that was strategic. That was done on purpose. We don't have those opportunities to give back in that moment of our lives from 14 to 35. We saw the decline in that. And when we became parents, right, it was different.
So we have a lot of work to do. So I'm gonna go to the next question though. And this question is really this question really is really to my heart, like, because I felt the effects of this myself. So it says, do you believe music, right, is the cause of some children being disrespectful? And what I'm gonna add on to this is this, right? I remember coming up, like somebody posted the other day, I think it was Mark Maffee, he on the stream too. He said he posted the stream Prince Marky D, rest in peace, because he just passed away. He posted a picture of Prince Marky D and the Fat Boys and all of that groups coming up. When I was younger, my first tapes was like the Fat Boys, Run DMC, EPMD, all of these different, groups that was part of that golden era.
Eric B. and Rakim.
Eric B. and Rakim. However, in like 1988, 1999, I went to Virginia for the summer, and my sister was married, and her husband, he had the NWA tape.
Open up the doors.
And when I took that tape and put that joint in that double cassette deck while they was at work and let that thing rock,
And you heard F the police and all that, right?
I heard F the police, gangster, it's another song, I Ain't the One by Ice Cube. These songs, man. These are like some of the first times I'm hearing the N-word just being dropped with reckless abandon. I'm hearing about guns. I'm hearing about drugs. I'm hearing about coke. I'm hearing about all of this different stuff, and it changed, it rearranged my mindset at that point. I'm only like maybe like 10, 11 years old.
Mm.
So what's your views on that? Has music changed the way we respect our community and our elders?
I would love for Chris to get that one. Speak on it, Chris.
I feel like it's just been like normalized in the community because like now a lot of 10, 11-year-old kids they like vibe to it, and like a lot of them they just like sing like the B word, or like I'm gonna shoot this person, I'm gonna slap this female. Like it's just like normal, like it's weird, but it's really like normal.
Mm. So, do you believe that they go out and actually do these things that even these shows, Love and Basketball, Hip Hop, so and so, and
Yeah.
back in the day it was some bad chick. I forgot what's the name of the show. Flavor Flav, and they fighting and spitting on one another. Do you believe that all of this really try to mold our children to be the baddest B or the baddest N?
I think music is an influence.
I think
Go ahead.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Chris.
I think so, cause when certain people listen to different songs, like for example, like when people shoot up schools or they shoot up supermarkets, they're thinking like they in a video game, like
Oh.
they shooting and they think like is they in a music video or something, like they fighting and they thinking they in like a music video with like some rapper that's a blood or like a crip or something, and
Mm-hmm.
they go out and actually do crazy stuff because
Mm.
I feel like they put like sound waves and stuff in the music that like
Mm.
just manipulates your brain, and it makes you like go out and do like crazy stuff that ends in mass like killings, like genocide and stuff. So it's just crazy.
Well, the ones who's really blowing up the schools and killing the schools is not Bloods and Crips. Those more like the Caucasian peoples. Let me just clear that one up.
Yeah. Go ahead. Dre, you there? Oh, hold
Yeah,
up,
I'm
Prince.
good.
Go
I'm
ahead, Dre.
Go
sorry.
ahead, Dre.
I'm gonna say I think the music is an influence, especially on the young, the immature, and definitely the unsupervised. Right? It influences that group, but it's also a reflection of the older and the experienced. So while we got exposed to NWA, that was different for us. But for the people in the area that they came from, that was their norm. So music is the voice of a generation, but it's also letting people know what's happening regionally, right? So it has influence on some, but it's also the story, the true story of others, right? And maybe hearing those stories, influence could go either way. But does it affect behavior? Absolutely.
What you think about that, Tank?
I agree with the brother, and I agree with the brother, and I want to say that on one hand, they say that music calms the soul, it calms the savage beast, but on the other hand, music is an expression of experience, and it, my time as a credible messenger, when I was working at GMAT, Gangsters Making Astronomical Community Changes, when I was taking these courses at the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and they, you know, taught us how to look at where beef originated from. One thing is we had to look at historical beef. So one thing about if you look at God bless both these brothers, Pop Smoke, God bless him, and God bless Kiki. Kiki was killed by the police back in I think 2016. He was 16 years old, but they had a YouTube video where Pop Smoke was young. I think he was 13. He got smacked by Kiki and smacked by Kiki's man, and that video went viral. And Pop Smoke, nobody knew him back then. But now, as Pop Smoke, as his music started to propel and take on a weight of its own and elevate him to another level, now, Kiki been passed away because he got killed by the police. He started disrespecting Kiki in his music. And Kiki has a memorial in East Flatbush. And those who gravitated towards Pop Smoke started going to the memorial, violating the memorial, violating the gravesite, violating all that. So it was an expression of an experience. So we have to look at the historical data and the historical beef on where these dramas generated from. And looking at the Brooklyn drill rap, you look at the Chicago drill rap, now it's Brooklyn drill rap, and it's cliques and crews. We used to say gangs, but now it's cliques and crews, because now you have a whole assortment of different gangs made up into this whole clique. Whether it's Wu, whether it's Cho, Bloods, Crips, Gangsta Disciple, whatever it may be, we got to look at the past and see where it originated from, and the music expresses what they feeling. Yeah.
Wow.
I ain't gonna front. I hear that song. They saying we outside. I'm like, yo, I want to go outside. I ain't gonna front. That joy be having me ready to go outside. So I mean, I know the music. This is definitely a big influence, and even myself and Coach Duncan here. When we was in high school, we each had a crew. We each had a rap crew, right? My crew was called Unknown. His crew was called Dopest on the Planet. They was mostly basketball players. We was mainly knuckleheads, and we used to clash with each other. You understand what I'm saying? And it was in the music, and it was part of the music. It was what we was living at the time. So you can just imagine how that spreads out into the community later on. It might start as something fun, maybe a battle rap or something like that, but then later on it could grow into
yeah. Also, from the outside looking in, right? How many ciphers did they destroy that were dope? Because they didn't understand the congregation of brothers and the volume, right? And the energy that was permeated through the whole building. Like we could be in the cafeteria having a battle, they'd be on the other side of school, come running. Now white folks thinks there's a fight.
Right.
When they get there, you see a circle. You see two brothers going at it back to back, but you're not listening.
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening. So that right there, that misinterpretation could also escalate a situation to something that it wasn't, never was, or wasn't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to just spin back to what the young brother said about the music being an influence upon the youth, like acting out and doing all type of killings because they hear the music and some of what the people who put out the music represent, and the message that they is picked up from their lyrics. But and Shanice, you was saying about, yeah, that's usually like mostly like the Caucasians that go up and be running up in schools with machine guns and killing up people. But also to put a spin on it, they listen to that punk rock, heavy metal,
Mm-hmm.
devil worshiping music and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it be the music that be twisting their minds up also. And then you also got to put it back to like the mental health issues. Like the mental health is serious out here, and people who have these type of problems and don't have that cultivation at home to be able to deal with their mental issues, they just ticking time bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for them, that goes for blacks, and
That's
so
a fact.
yeah.
That's
The
a
young,
fact.
the
But
immature, and the unsupervised.
yeah. But everybody, I got a boogie right fast. I got a jet, and so I just wanted to chime in. I'm pardon myself for being late. But I just wanted to just chime in and show my support and jump on and vibe with you, brothers.
Before you go, tap in and tell them about the organization that we started, and just drop that in the information real quick.
Oh, Mentors Against Drugs and Guns Through Experience. So this is an organization that's focused on, providing services, comprehensive services to at-risk youth between the ages of 16 to 24. Our unique perspective is that, we engaging to serve all 5 boroughs, through positive youth development, resume building, career, help to get people on the right track. So Mentors Against Drugs and Guns Through Experience was launched last year at the 2020 when we did the No Talk 2020.
Right.
and where we marched, and was it was a success. It was a success. And
Mm-hmm.
so this organization is just basically focused on teaching the youth about just conversations that we having now
Mm-hmm.
are implemented into marriage to help people, get through the barriers and challenges of drugs, gang involvement. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that we are against anything, but we want everyone to know and understand that, like Tank was saying, go to the origin of why these things were created, why, all the dynamics that it was created to fight, you know what I'm saying, and install those core values inside you. Learn to think for yourself, learn to put the drugs down, put the guns down, and focus towards a more positive existence,
That's what's
through
up.
education.
That's
Definitely.
what's up.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
Yes.
Coming in. Peace.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace, bro.
So
Peace.
So my
she wants
next
to put the next
question,
question to Chris, right?
huh?
The next question is that steered to Chris, correct?
That is geared to anyone.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's geared to Chris. I'm looking at number 8. Number 7, what does the parent misunderstand about being a young person in today's society?
I think it's like the independent aspect. Like, like a lot of kids, they grow up like now they grow up too fast because, they gotta fend for the household. Like they gotta go outside and get some money so, they could put some food on the table. So I feel like the aspect of being independent and like I mean and nobody wanna be cooped like staying cooped up inside all day. People wanna like kids wanna go outside, hang out with their friends and chill. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, and like, whenever my mom gets yells at me about certain stuff, I'll be mad because like I'm like I don't want to hear that. I want to go outside and not be bored. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, it's like I want to be independent. Like, I'm gonna check in with you, but like I want to go outside and have fun, and be a kid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, that's a lot of us parents are scared to let our children to just be, because why? A lot of things go on in the street. This is why the parents used to say, stay on the block. Don't go out of the block. Or get back in the house before the light, the street light come on, because a lot of things do happen when you off the block, because majority of the time when you on the block, people on the block is watching. The mother could be in the house cooking, doing whatever she's doing, but the people on the block is like, oh, I saw Chris. He just stepped away from the block, or I just saw him with his friends. So I remember I had to go through that myself, and it was nerve wracking, but I kind of understand because the way things is going in today's world. I have a 25-year-old, so I definitely understand where you're coming from. Anyone else would like to comment or have bring back memories of what your mom used to say to you as a parent, or if anyone is a parent with children?
Well, I definitely want to chime in on that. I know that um what my mother's deeply in the church, right? So when I came up, she tried to raise me in the church. It didn't work because that just wasn't where my head was at. And it was a severe generational gap because my parents were almost 40 by the time they had me. So when I'm coming up, they in their 50s and then later on in their 60s. So the things that I'm experiencing in the community is, the rise of rap culture, house parties, drug dealing, all of these different things that I don't want to say I definitely wanted to be a part of, but this is what the culture was. So I wanted to be outside. And she basically was like, yo, she was a hardcore Christian. She didn't even want me to celebrate Halloween. She didn't want me to do a whole bunch of things. So I started sneaking out the window, you know, and you start, people will start to look at you as the characterization of your parents, even though you're trying to come of age and be the person that you want to be. So coming up in school, I had to differentiate myself as a person. And these are the struggles that I'm going through to make myself be known as who I am as opposed to who they are. And that's what a lot of parents don't understand. This is the misunderstanding that parents have because we're looking at it in hindsight with all of the things that we've been through in our life. And we're saying that you don't have to do this. But the kid is going to school and they're inside of the school most of the time longer than the time that they spend through with their parents most of the day. So now the social and the peer groups come in the hand, right? And you want to be accepted. You don't want to be that person that's sitting at the lunch table by themselves, right? So you're going to do certain things so that you could be looked at as cool, or you could be part of the
down, right?
Or down. You understand what I'm saying? So what y'all feel about that?
100% agree, man. I think one of the things I wrote down, like in these questions, is that parents need to understand that our kids spend more waking hours away from us than they do with us, right? Especially in a school building. They're in that building for 6 hours, right? You're not going straight home, right? You in bed by 10, 11. You with your parents like 3 hours a day. You wake up in the morning, you leave to go to school, you come back, right? So I think as parents, what we got to understand is like, if you establish certain like family traditions or customs, they're important because they become like little rituals that our children can grow and learn from, and they shape their decision making when they're outside the home. And we got to trust that they're going to go out there and make the right decisions.
That's the key word.
And right decisions is not always what's best for us. It's not always what's best for us. It's not always what we would do.
Right.
So we gotta let that go, right, and let them get their own experiences. That's the hardest thing to do, is to watch a kid fall, and that's the one thing we try to prevent. And they need it.
That's true. So I hear trust and install those values, those family values inside of our children, and just let them go ahead and come back home and tell us, hopefully they tell us what they did wrong, what they did right, so that way we could fix it if it happens again, or not just fix it, but give them some type of
leeway,
but also give them that them tools to not do that again, because this can happen. You understand what I'm saying? As a mother, you would just want to make sure they go ahead, but still give them those, son, if you did this the right way, or if you would have done it this way, or maybe if you would have never did that, this would never happen. You understand? So still be that mother, father, but also friend, 5% of friendship with your children. I say 5%. I mean, because these kids are something else.
It's through, right? I think the main word is trust, right? And I know my mother. My mother asked me questions she already knew the answer to, just to see if I'm a lie to her. Right?
That sounds like your mom's right.
She's like, yo, what time you walk in the house? 4:13 a.m. and because you were awake.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And my mom was like, you still don't lie to me. I'm like, why? You always said all that lay down ain't sleep. Right? Just because she laying down don't mean she sleep. Just because they're not around don't mean they don't hear. So if you have that bond with your parent, then they're gonna trust you, right, to make certain decisions or to turn it in when you need help, because we all mess up. Right?
Right.
Yeah. That's
absolutely.
Can you trust your child to just fall and get back up?
Right. Because if you don't give them any type of leeway, they're going to rebel. They tell me, listen, go to your room. What I would do, climb out the window. When they and then instead of worrying about coming home late and all that, I climb back in the window. So you don't know what time I'm leaving. You don't know what time I'm coming back. I'm doing whatever. And before you coming home from work, I'm sneaking out the back door. So it was just a different type of vibe for me. And I seen that, like my man Bravo, he on here right now. He's like my little nephew, but his little brother, I seen those same qualities in him. because we used to be at their house all the time, and his mother would be like, "Yo, go in the room," and what he would do, go out on the fire escape and be back outside. You know what I'm saying? So I see this. They're gonna rebel. You got to figure out a way to bridge that gap so that you can also be a part of their life and understand the struggles that they're going through and add on to that to guide them, not just basically on some top down telling, listen, you do this, you do that, you do this. No, understand what they're going through so that you could give your input on that and guide them into a better situation. So with that, I'm gonna ask we got like 3 more questions left, and we gonna get some callers in. So the next question is, what does community mean to you? Tank, could you start that off? What does community mean to you?
Yeah, brother. Community, for me, the definition of community, I mean, if you break down the word into 2 different phrases, commune, and then you got unity. Commune, unity. So for me, that's community means me going to my neighbor's house, making sure that they're good, making sure that everybody on my block is good, making sure that everybody in my neighborhood is good. Just, back in the days, it used to be, when I was, growing up in my grandmother's house, her friends used to have authority to discipline me. And if they see me doing something wrong, they would check me. So, I mean, nowadays, it don't go like that. Everybody is every man, every woman for themselves. Like, don't touch my child. If you touch my child, I'm going to come at you. I'm going to put hands on you, and you're going to get a serious whooping. But back then, look, you got authority. If you see him or her doing something wrong, you check him. And then I'm going to check him after that. And then his pop's going to check him after that. So we used to have 3 check-ins before the day was out. But nowadays, it don't go like that. Everybody for themselves. So it's sad.
Wow. That's true. Wow.
That's community.
All them beatings.
What is community to you, Chris? We can't hear you.
We all helping each other out. Like, if they're the elder in your community, you walk them to the store, or like you get whatever they need and then come back upstairs and give it to them. Like throw rent parties. If somebody's struggling with the rent, try to like help them out. Like whatever you're trying to use some of the money for, like foolishness, just like put in a couple of dollars so they can make it to their next rent day.
Community.
Peace. Dre?
Yo, when I think community, I think of like familiarity and respect. You know what I'm saying? Like community to me is going outside, knowing your neighbors, walking to the store, forgetting your wallet. They know you, so you get the food anyway. You bring it back, right? There's trust. There's safety and protection because we're all looking out for one another.
That's right.
Right? And there's conflict and resolution.
There you go.
Right? Conflict and resolution. That's the biggest thing. Like if your community is at war, that's not a community. Right? Also, each one teach one. Right? We could learn from each other. I heard Chris say earlier, he's like, young people are wise. They absolutely are. So as adults, we can't go thinking we can't learn something from them. They're having a completely different life experience than we are. So if we want to be hip to what's happening now, you got to tune into the youth. Right? And learn what they're going through. And the biggest thing is like uplift. Tank touched on it, man. Uplift. We got that's it.
Wow.
I will say that coming up, there was a strong sense of community in my original neighborhood of Monticello, New York. We had a strong sense of community. It was church based. A lot of the parents knew each other. They made sure that the kids was out there doing the right thing. However, after a while, like as I came of age, that sense of community, it seemed like it broke down. There was a lot of drug and gang culture and all types of things that basically broke that community apart. But I went away for a while, probably about 9 years, and came back and came down here to the city. And when I met my wife, She introduced me to a community of people that actually had those old school values. It's a strong group. I'm gonna say it's different communities within the Harlem community. Now
Mhm.
you have communities of people that are doing other things, but there's also a strong sense of people that are activist orientated and community minded in Harlem that are actually giving food out to the poor, giving clothes out, giving toys to the youth, feeding people during Thanksgiving. These things are things that are really strongly community related, and it changed my aspect on what is community. And I saw a lot of the values that my mother tried to instill in me when I was a youth. And she used to take me to prisons, and we used to give out socks, and we used to go to the hospitals and visit the sick and shut in. All of these things is stuff that I remember from being younger that's down here in Harlem, and they're doing it on a daily basis. What say you about that, Queen?
Well, I definitely enjoy my community. I've been here forever years, and I love to give back. I love to see the people that we all linked up with doing what they're doing, and I respect every organization that is. Um, I'm just grateful that I have that installed in me as well to go to Rikers Island and speak to the mothers and for Mother's Day, giving them toys, not toys, giving them feminine products, giving their children toys because they had the children on the visits as well. That meant everything to me because I did not know that females don't get visits in whoever that's in jail or in prison. I did not know that until I went there. Then going out here, we taken our 14 was 16-year old, and she went out there and she gave out socks and things of that nature, going to the shelters, feeding the homeless. I love it because at the end of the day, when I need help, I can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I need some help." Whatever it is, services, resources, money, whatever it is, they got our back. And as you can see, they got our back. So, it's not just our community, it's Brooklyn, it's Queens. Other people are doing great things as well. But I definitely rep Harlem.
That's peace. So to move on to the next question. We have two questions left.
So our
I
next
think this
question,
is goes to Tank, right?
yes.
Okay.
If you have your own organization, how would you bridge the gap with the people that you are around, Tank? And tell us
Well,
about your organization, please, sir.
for me, the name of the name of my organization, it's myself and Luis Lopez. We have Gangsters Giving Back
Mm-hmm.
/ God Gives Blessings. Once
Mm-hmm.
people elevate themselves to that level,
Mm-hmm.
and people may say, "Oh, the word gangster is derogatory, is negative, Italian based, and all that." But I have to attract the mind of the peoples. And once they get to that level, once we attract the mind of the people, we also have God Gives Blessings. So
Mm-hmm.
we deal with denouncing gun violence, we deal with job placement, we trying to get into the housing placement with people coming home from prison,
Mm-hmm.
looking for housing on a meritocracy based system. If you're doing good in prison and you're doing the programs that not that you're supposed to get, but volunteering for different programs that you just want to do it just to give back to your community,
Mm-hmm.
then come on, be a part of our organization. And
Mm-hmm.
we also, myself, I work for New York City Health and Hospitals as a contact tracer.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go to the people that have COVID, go to their houses or call them and interview them, see who they were around, see where they were around, and try to pinpoint uh, the basis of that infection. So
Right.
we're starting to get into the COVID-19 work also. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, Gangsters Giving Back is it's a new organization. We started in October. Prior
Mm-hmm.
to that, I was working for GMAT, Gangsters Making Astronomical Community Changes, located in East Flatbush in downtown Brooklyn. I was a program manager for both sites, overseeing 26 work staff,
Mm-hmm.
and we was up under the Cure Violence model.
Yes.
Created by Slucky, Gary Slucky,
Slucking,
Sluckin.
Gary Slucking,
That's
yeah.
that.
Where
Yeah,
in Chicago?
yeah, in Chicago.
Okay.
So I learned all my experience. Bless Shanduke Trife. He, gave me an opportunity to excel, and I took it and ran with it. So now, I started my own organization, and I think that one thing that we need to do as a people have an open door policy. It was many times when I was at that location on East Flatbush, on Kings Highway in Church. There's a McDonald's right across the street from that location, from GMAC, and all the kids from Tilden, all the kids from different high schools used to go to that McDonald's, and they used to fight. We used to look out the window like, "Yo, look, it's a fight." And the security guards, they couldn't do nothing with them. Security guards, all they did was call police. But we would go outside, grab the parties up. Yo, listen, listen, y'all coming in the office. We would take one downstairs to the basement, one upstairs, have their peoples with us, and then we would talk to them until they could work out their beef and get together in the same room and communicate. So my thing is having an open door policy, and one thing I said earlier was meeting them at their level. If I see them in a place of disdain, fighting, being how kids be, because we was all kids before. We all did stuff as kids that right now we'll look at it like, wow, I did that, but we can't look down and say, no, I'm gonna separate myself from that.
Right.
No. So my thing is just embracing them, giving them opportunity. A lot of these kids want an opportunity to express themselves, whatever business venture, educational venture they conjure up in their mind, conjure up in their heart. Yeah, y'all still there? Y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we hear you.
My fault. But my organization, I just want to have an open door policy for all the kids to express themselves, whatever denomination they may be, whatever gang they may be. I want to, do the same thing that I was doing at GMAC and bring it to my organization so that the kids could feel wanted and so that they could express themselves whatever way they may be.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. I, as a single mom, I have seen a lot of young girls fighting out here. And yes, I lived in Harlem forever. So, this is part of me too. So I saw some young girls. I was behind the building. They was fighting. I'm like, what the heck? And I hear them. Yeah, get her, get her, get her. I'm like, what is going on? I went outside and I grabbed up the girls. Well, grabbed up the girl who was getting really whipped on. I grabbed her up, told the other ones, what are y'all doing? First of all, y'all filming it. Okay. Y'all filming it. Y'all wanna get the great footage, but at the end of the day, y'all all can get in trouble for doing this. And after I walked the young lady home, I came back and got on every last one of them and told them they all wrong. And if they have it in their phone, delete it right now. One of them tried to step up to me and I almost lost it as a mother. And I had to shut him down, let him know, who are you think you're talking to? I'm old enough to be your mother, young man. And when I was firm and strong with my words, the little girls was like, stop, don't do that. So I know community, that is me. I see a young man walking down the street with his pants all the way down. I'm saying something. That's just me. I remember around the Sean Bell time, there was a young boy that got shot in front of my building. And I went downstairs like a fool, went downstairs and I think his brother had pushed the cop and I grabbed the boy and I'm like, what are you doing? And the cop said, do you know him? I said, yes. I said, take him upstairs, further away from the cops. And I was just talking to him like, what? Do you know these people would kill you, boy? And he was just so upset. I gave him my phone. I told him, call your family, tell them come get you or be here for you, whatever the case might be. So with that, you know, I'm listening to everybody and I'm like, yeah, we dropped the bomb. Some of us did. Some of us still have those volumes. And we just want to bridge the gap, as this is why we're having these conversations right now today. So,
Okay, so this is the last question, and then we're going to open it up for the callers. If you want to call in, it's 347-450-6397. That's 347-450-6397. But this last question is, who is or were your role models coming up, right? Who is or were your role models coming up and someone you looked up to while growing up? And we have a caller that just called in. I'm going to call you right back.
Chris, would you like to speak about who is your role model, or if you have one or you had one?
My uncle was my role model because like he wasn't he didn't hold his tongue. Like whatever he had to say, he said it, and then whatever like happened, it just happened. And you know, like I feel like a lot like more like grown ups should like be like that. So you know, cause like you know, I mean, cause sometimes the kid needs that like raw like you know like that raw talking, and, you know, like that tough love. And my uncle, like you know, he was like really trying to get into my head like I gotta change like you know the stuff that I need to work on. And you know, he didn't hold back nothing, and you know, now I'm the person I am today because of my uncle.
That's what's up. Thank you. That's peace. Brother Tank.
Call from.
Yeah, I would say my father. My father, he was my role model. You know, God bless him. He was my role model.
To accept, press 1.
He was a working man. He was a working man doing what he had to do, and he took care of his family. You know, and nobody's perfect, but he showed me and taught me the right steps in life.
That's what's up. That's peace.
Dre?
Oh, absolutely the same. My dad.
Okay.
He always kept it real. He was always in control. He was a working man. He showed me what it was to be a family man and head of the house, and to have that diligence and that dedication.
That's dope.
Right, to the family.
Wow. Thank you. So we have a caller. Oh, the God I be. Who was your role model?
Yeah.
I'm speaking straight up. And Dre know this dude. My role model was a drug dealer by the name of Bam Bam. Actual fact. And you know why I like the Bam Bam? Because for one, right, he had every pair of new Jordans and sneakers that came out, right? He was the flyest dude in high school. This dude had wild clothes. He had the Gucci jacket in 1991 or something like that. The Dapper Dan Gucci red and green joint, right? With the New Balance sneakers and the and all the joy. Yo, this dude was fresh to death, and he was a drug dealer, man. And I'm like, yo, go ahead.
Yo, Bam was that dude, but here's what people don't get. He was also extremely talented. This man could play basketball.
Right.
This man could cut hair.
Right.
He was absolutely hilarious.
Right.
And when I got in high school, you know what I saw? I saw Bam with the red champions hoodie, the blue champion pants, right? And the Air Force Ones, red and blue, different color shoes.
Right.
And you know what he did after class? He sat in the class like he didn't even want to leave. Like he was just being a knucklehead all class. Everybody walked out the class. Homie pulled his homework out of his pocket, unfolded it, and gave it to the teacher.
Oh.
He had a 3.4 GPA in high school.
Ooh.
People didn't know that. They thought he wasn't doing his work. The man was sneaking his homework out. He was doing all his schoolwork. Never walked around with books. Never walked around with books. Did all his work.
So I'm gonna tell you the unfortunate part of this, though. The unfortunate part of that story is, Bam Bam was the person that repeatedly went to prison. Right. Right now he's on like his third or fourth bid. He's doing like 25 or something, maybe 20 some years. And in following that role model and in those footsteps, I went to jail and prison as well, selling drugs and trying to be the flyest person on the block and starting crews of drug dealers and all of this different stuff. So when it comes to a role model, and you know, it's crazy because my father, as an older person now and looking back in hindsight, my father should have been my role model, like both of you said. he should have been my role model because my father was somebody that worked hard every single day to put his children through school. He started his own business. He had a house. He had a pool. He did everything in the way that it was supposed to be done. And he was there in my life for most of my life when a lot of people didn't even have a father in their life. That was when I was coming up. So he should have been my role model. But I spent so much time in the streets that I was more attracted to the drug dealing lifestyle. And, that's what that ended me up in a bad situation. And it also caused a disconnect or a gap between myself and my children where I should have been there for them and I wasn't able to be there for them.
Right.
That
Wow.
we do have some callers that I'm gonna call back, and
Okay.
you can go ahead and talk while I try to get the first one on the phone.
Well, I want to definitely say thank y'all for coming on and being a part of this with us. I wrote down some things, some valuable points, and we just want to bring this back to the surface again. And I'm hoping that we have these discussions a little bit more.
Hello.
Podcast.
Hello?
Peace. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast. Who we speaking to?
Oh, yeah, this is Joseph P. Langdon, man. I didn't know this was I reached out yet. And I want this.
You breaking up a little bit, brother. Hello? You still there?
Can you hear me now, brother?
Yeah, we hear you.
Am I live right now?
You live right now.
Yeah, I want to speak to the people, man, because I've been out of prison for 100 days now, right?
Mm.
And I did 22 years imprisonment.
Wow.
And while I was in prison, I was rebellious. But it was the people who were in prison who was doing life sentences that allowed me to redirect my energy and my mind state.
Mm.
And with that being said, I released and I wrote a book.
Mm.
And I came to the world trying to share this story of mass incarceration, how prison is $1 billion business, and how, the belly of the beast is hungry and we the food. And I know about this, right? And it seems like if you glorify guns, if you glorify gang banging, and you glorify the things that put you where I just came from, those are the things that people pay attention to. But when you tell people how to avoid the pen, or how to avoid being a slave, or how to become an entrepreneur, because I'm living proof that it could be done, guess what happens? Resistance. So right now, I want people to talk about how we bridge the gap between young and old.
Breaking up.
We didn't hear that last part.
How we bridge the gap between?
Yeah, we can't hear you. You breaking up, brother. No.
We
Yeah,
would love to have
catch you when you
Joseph
come
P.
back.
We'd love to have you on, Joseph.
Yeah, we
P.
love to have you on in the future.
All right, brother. You well, no, my
Damn.
Yeah, we can't catch you. But yo, listen, put your information in the chat and we'll reach out to you so we can have you on in the future so you can talk about your book. Thank you for calling in.
brother.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
The glorification of violence, right?
Mm. Well, I do a lot of stuff with domestic violence, and what happened is people started to realize that or think that domestic violence is
Peace.
community violence, and it's not.
Podcast.
Totally different things. So I go out there and educate people on DV and how to talk to one another, how to be in a healthy relationship. That's what I do. I do a lot of education on that.
Mm.
Okay, so we got a caller. Who's this?
This is Brother Mark McPhee. Peace,
Brother
man.
Mark, peace.
Peace, family.
I'm going to say, don't talk, walk like we did back in June. We walk the walk and we talk the talk and we get it. I want to say
Breaking up a little bit, Uncle Mark.
who comes from GMAC,
Mm-hmm.
Miss Thatcher, one of my CTB brothers, and to Chris Lane, God bless you, young brother.
That's right.
Many people, our young people, get caught up in these music, and also the TV shows. They don't have the wherewithal to understand that the shock and awe is usually for ratings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, we must make sure that young people
Breaking
is.
up.
And also, many of us mention our father. Tomorrow, my father makes 24 years since he passed away.
Wow.
He comes out of the tradition of Marcus Garvey.
Mm.
And so I want to say that I appreciate the work that you do, and I look forward, my brother, the God I be, to see you tomorrow on Families United for Solutions. And I hope that some of you panelists will also join us on that platform. Sister Shanice, you are beautiful.
Thank
You
you.
and brother are that power couple. Keep on doing what you do. Love you both.
Thank you. Peace.
You, Uncle
Love you
Mark.
too. Thank you so much. He
Peace.
always tuning in. I love
That's a fact.
it. Thank God we bring in substance because they would let us know.
They always about some nonsense. So we got one more caller. I'll try to get her back on the line.
I love this. I was just telling him, y'all need to open up a cigar bar and actually make it happen. You know, speak the knowledge, give them that knowledge,
No.
give them that wisdom.
Peace.
Please.
Peace. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast. You called in earlier.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I'm calling from upstate. Yes, you can hear me?
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
cut your computer down in the background.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm calling from upstate. I just wanted to, give you guys, a good thumbs up. What this podcast was all about. Where I'm at is, it's really a small town, and I'm like on a level of where you guys are at, especially now with what's all going on.
Hmm.
And it's really hard up here trying to get something going, but I'm trying, guys. And I really appreciate, being a part of you guys today.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
What and she said that person said they trying. What do they need help with? Maybe you could reach us back at a
We
later time.
need help with anything. It's just the people, moving the people, and
Yeah.
sometimes that takes an army, but I believe sometimes it could just take one person with a certain justice, as far as doing little organizing in the community around holidays and just being out there speaking to the people. I've been up here for a short time, and my short time up here, I do know a lot of people, but I got to get to the point where I establish relationships with them, working relationships where they want to get more involved.
Right.
Especially right now, we're dealing with this EO 203 executive order from Governor Cuomo about this police reform,
Mm.
and the people are just so da.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get the moving with that, and yeah, I'm doing little things up here the best I could do.
Are you talking about the order from Cuomo that we basically have input in what the police stations are
Yes, every
doing?
law enforcement entity has to have something on his desk by April 1st.
Yeah, could you explain that for the people that don't know about that, because that's something I wanted to talk about in the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, it's really hot. Well, actually we should have been on it. I'm gonna admit to it. I'm kind of late too, guys. But this came out last year.
Yes, it did.
Governor Cuomo basically put out an executive order stating that every police fatality in the state of New York have some kind of resolution written up and sent to his office by April 1st. in reference to police reform, and how they're going to better, work with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And a lot of places have been kind of, really on their grind with it. I got to give Rockland County a big up, because I've been in a lot of Zoom meetings in a lot of counties, just snooping around, seeing what they're doing, seeing, what's happening. And Rockland County has it really together. Unfortunately, my county is Sullivan County, and we're kind of behind, but we're trying our best to get it together.
Yeah, so what you need to know, if you listening out there in your community, you are supposed to have open access and input in these forums
Yes, the
about
committees
police
was
reform.
formed. Yes, everybody since had to form a community committee.
That's
a
right.
committee with the community. Sit down, put out a survey, have hearings, public hearings, Zoom meetings. They were doing all kind of creative things to get input from the community. So yes, that is very important. We have to have input on that. And
yes, we do.
Unfortunately, like I said, some people are really getting tuned to it, but we have to. Everybody got to get tuned to this and put some input of what's going on.
So hopefully we get that person back on, and we could speak on that as well.
Yeah, that you just took the words right out of my mouth. So we definitely want to have you on, so we can matter of fact, we will go over the executive orders that Cuomo put in last year, and this was one of the orders where he said that all of these police stations have to have this police reform in, or they will lose funding.
That's
they
right.
Funding if they don't have this in by April
1st.
And we all supposed to have input on this situation. So we definitely got to get active in our communities. If we want change, you was out here protesting and saying that the police is not doing right. Now it comes time for the legislation and the actual work to be put in place. So you have to get out here to these town hall meetings and give your input on what you think that the police reform should look like before April 1st.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, caller.
For calling in.
Take care, guys. Good luck. Best wishes.
All right. Peace.
Wow. That's the next topic. However, a lot of people have been having a lot of Zooms, and all of a sudden you start hearing certain things on the Zoom, like the N-word, or certain things is happening, and I think people is starting to wake up and see what's going on right now in the world. So I think we need to get prepared and get ready. With that, I say peace. It's after 3.
Wow. Yo, I want to thank y'all so much for coming on. I want to thank all of the panelists that came on. My brother Tank Tarantino, aka Rashaan Brown. Salute to you, my brother. You gave great input. To my brother, school teacher that I grew up with, Andre Duncan, Coach Duncan. Salute to you, my brother. You doing the work out there in the elementary schools where it's not even many men, period. And I salute that.
Word.
So, yo, Tank, peace to you, my brother. What you got to say, man? How can people reach out to you?
You could go to my Instagram page, Tank Tarantino Forever, and then from there you'll be able to reach out to me or Rashaan Brown, Rashaan Brown on Facebook. You can reach out to me. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the name of your organization again?
Gangstas Giving Back / God Gives Blessings.
And where y'all working at?
We in Brooklyn right now. We in Brooklyn, but we wherever the violence is, wherever the people need help, that's where we at.
All right.
Gotcha.
Peace, my brother.
Peace.
Dope. Peace, Tank.
Dre.
Right. Yeah, it's been real. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Thank you.
Absolutely. Come on and bond with these brothers and talk about these things, man. I think it's necessary. And like we always say, talk and then let's take action. Words are beautiful.
And for the record, how tall are you again?
6'6". That's right.
Yo, salute to you, my brother.
I got a 17-year-old. He's 6'9".
What? Oh my gosh.
Yo, they was the basketball team. They team was good too. Y'all got some couple championships, right?
Yeah, we won. Yeah, we won. We won undefeated our senior year. Lost
That's
to
right.
Newburgh, and then lost in the state quarterfinals. But It
Wow.
is what it is, man. You know, it's been beautiful. Listen,
Thank you.
Peace.
keep doing wonderful work.
You too, brother.
I'll always be here.
All right.
Peace.
Salute.
Thank you. Salute. Wow. That was
Okay,
really
Queen.
good.
Yeah, that was a
Listen,
good
you
conversation.
you know, a lot of us women is like, where the good men or where the men at? Listen, we bringing them to you know, we bringing them. We
We
bringing
outside.
them. You know, we definitely letting other sisters know that there are good men out there. They, yes, I'm sure everybody's with someone, but at the end of the day, there are good men, good black men that's doing great things out there in the community. And we need to just stop saying there's none when there is.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I will be at Families United for Solutions, giving my talk. I'm gonna talk my talk tomorrow about the history of the Black Plan, a survey of Black leadership, their plans for empowerment. This will be on the Families United for Solutions page, and you could check on my Facebook page and find the Zoom information if you would like to tune in through Zoom. So once again, that'll be on Facebook Live, Families United for Solutions at 7 o'clock. I will be speaking on the history of the Black Plan and a survey of Black leadership and their plans for empowerment. You have anything coming up, Queen?
Nah, not really.
Not
Everything
really.
I'm doing is, you know, domestic violence. So if there's any woman that's out there that are survivors of domestic violence and would like to be a part of the Living Behind the Mask Purple Round Table, I do that every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Please go to my website at wearephenomenalwoman.com. And if you would like to be a part of that conversation, how you got out, what made you stay, you know, all of those questions there. We want other women to understand that you don't have to stay in a domestic violence relationship. You can get out safely. And we are living proof of it. So I was also in a domestic violence relationship at the age of 18. Like I said, I'm over 40 something now, and I am happy because my king and I is doing great things.
That's a fact. That's a fact. We need to get in some things when we get off of this. Matter of fact, I will talk about that later. But anyway, I'd like to give a shout out to the young bro Christopher Lane for giving the
Yes.
insight from a 14-year-old perspective. I also want to give a shout out to my man Rell Balla. He has some internet issues, but he definitely was instrumental in us getting this talk together. Salute to you, Rell Balla, and I definitely want to speak to you soon. To my brother Prince Rondu, thanks for tapping in and coming in and giving us some great insight. And to those in the chat, shout out to my man Barry Bravo Bowser, my man Prince Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who else? Joseph P. Langdon, thank you for tapping in. Who else? Who else we got here?
Ooh,
Joseph P. Langdon, 2B Productions, thank you for tapping in.
yes.
2B
We had,
Productions gave us a lot of information. Shout
yes.
out to my man Elohim Hogan, another brother that I grew up with. Salute to you, my brother. Hopefully you tap in and we'll get you on soon. Um, and last but not least, Uncle
Brother
Mark.
Mark.
Uncle Mark
Yes.
Lafee. Thank you for coming on, Mark Lafee. You know, you always showing us support. You were that connection. You were that connection person in Harlem, man. Like
Yes, he is.
connected. And you always shouting people out and making sure that people know about the works that people are doing in the community. So we definitely salute you, my brother. And I definitely want to reach out to you and speak to you in person soon. I will definitely see y'all tomorrow at Families United for Solutions. And also shout out to Shamika Foy, who called in and she gave us the information about the executive order by Cuomo with the police reform. Make sure
Yes.
you in your community and you want police reform that you are chiming in and giving that information.
That's right. Also, we want to shout out to everybody who was on the YouTube. Thank you, everyone on YouTube who were basically making leaving their comments and things in that nature. So Shout out to y'all. We definitely appreciate y'all. And we see y'all next week, Sunday at what time, baby?
1 p.m. The Knowledge Hour.
There you go. Peace.
Peace.